Pastor Brenda. Really glad to meet you here. So tonight we're going to have a basic life message on the 5 essentials of trust. This one has got tools for you for a lifetime. But I want to begin by reading a psalm to you. Psalm 55 says, "Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my cry for help. Please listen and answer me, for I am overwhelmed by my troubles. My enemies shout at me, making loud and wicked threats. They bring trouble on me and angrily hunt me down. My heart pounds in my chest. The terror of death assaults me. Fear and trembling overwhelm me, and I can't stop shaking." So that's the first 5 verses. But you see, the psalm begins with this cry for help. Verse 2, "Please listen and answer me, for I am overwhelmed by my troubles." Then we get down to verse 4 and 5, and it sounds like this writer, this author, is having a real life anxiety panic attack. It says, "My heart pounds in my chest. The terror of death assaults me. Fear and trembling overwhelm me, and I can't stop shaking." It sounds like so much anxiety, so much stress going on, that this is leading the brain. Now I'm going to continue on with this psalm. I'm going to be beginning at verse 6, but we get to verse 12 and 14. We're going to know the cause as to why this person's under so much anxiety to have a panic attack. "Oh, that I had wings like a dove, that I would fly away and rest. I would fly far away to the quiet of the wilderness. How quickly I would escape, far from this wild storm of hatred. Confuse them, Lord, and frustrate their plans, for I see violence and conflict in the city. Its walls are patrolled day and night against invaders, but the real danger is wickedness within the city. Everything is falling apart. Threats and cheating are rampant in the streets. It is not an enemy who taunts me. I could bear that. It is not my foes who so arrogantly insult me. I could have hidden from them. Instead, it is you, my equal, my companion, and close friend. What good fellowship we once enjoyed as we walked together to the house of God." This is a psalm of betrayal. Get those words in verse 6, a wild storm of hatred. Betrayal hurts in its own deep ways because trust was involved. You once trusted this person, and then for many million reasons, something unfair happened. And betrayal then causes you to pray in verse 15, "Let death stalk my enemies, let the grave swallow them alive, for evil makes its home within them." You can just feel the pain in that prayer. You can feel the bitterness sinking in at the depth of what this betrayal is. You can feel the walls being built up so that no one will ever hurt this person again. You know, I trusted this person and now the whole world has become untrustworthy. And you feel like a fool. You can feel this person feeling like a fool in this psalm. Why did I trust? Why did I expose my life? And then this contempt grows for everyone. So this is a series about trust and forgiveness. And these do not belong together. We don't trust so that we can forgive somebody, and we don't forgive so that we trust somebody again. Don't get confused with that. But I also want you to hear that forgiveness is God's gift to human hearts that are prone to turn hurt into hate. And you see in this psalm, you're seeing hurt turn into hate, right? I want to say, in the Christian faith, death never has the final word. The same goes for the death of a friendship or a business relationship or a marriage. Death will never have the final word. There's always redemption. That does not mean that you will trust this betrayer again. That's something we're going to be talking about in the next video. Okay? So In this series on trust and forgiveness, let me start understanding that both are vulnerable, both you don't want to deal with, both you want to just cope through life with as little of it as possible, both you want to be protected from, because both make you just want to hide. It's exposing. It's vulnerable. It's risky. Both want to keep you in a small world, and this is why I'm talking about this here as a church. When your trust issues lead, you live in a small world. And when you fight forgiveness, bitterness does sink in, and then you're living in a small, angry world. And this is where we're going to have some very good conversation, some not of those supposed church answers. So I just want you to take down your guard a little bit. Trust me as we talk about these trust issues and how you can trust someone tonight. I am very purposeful in this church to be a church for people with trust issues. I just want to say that up front, and maybe sometime you'll join us on a Friday night and find that out, and you'll find that this is a safe place for those of us with trust issues. Because, fact, most of us come to church full of trust issues. You're all too familiar with betrayal. Someone has smashed your heart. Some of you have had serial promise breakers in your life. Some of you probably, maybe, have been a serial promise breaker to those in your life. And some of you have trusted so easily that you feel so naive, so stupid, that when you get blindsided, you're just so done. You're just so done being treated like that. So why is Dr. Henry Cloud, this is the guy who gave us the book on boundaries and has given us several 30 books since, has created these 5 essentials of trust. And they can really, and you'll see this by the end of this talk, how they will help you discern and determine if you can trust someone. This can be someone who's a new friend to you. This can be someone you're going to go into a business relationship with, or this could be someone that maybe you want to have for a lifetime. This can also be applied to you as you're learning to trust God again. Put God through these 5 essentials and see if you can trust God again. So I'm going to begin with this thought that we are wired to move towards people whom we trust. It's something that our physical body, our brains just do. But also at the same time, we can be wired to move towards the wrong type of people too. Here comes the problem, right? Because we get wired this way. We have a whole series on Lead Your Brain if you want to know more about that. This is a quote from Dr. Cloud. Trust sends a signal to our entire being that says, move forward. When we trust, we move toward a person, a group, a deal, a company, or whatever the object of our trust may be. And then we invest our hearts, time, energy, love, or wallets. When we don't trust, we get a strong internal message in our opposite direction that says, move away. You get that feeling, right? The definition of trust we're going to use from Dr. Cloud is, trust is the confidence that someone will guard what is important to you, what you need, possess, or desire. Whatever your interests are, someone you trust will safeguard the interest you entrust to them. Trust is evidence-based, and trust builds trust. And with wisdom, you can pick the best imperfect people you can. And this would be a great conversation, but we're not going to stop for this conversation tonight. People who are comfortable in their imperfections are the ones who do well in trust. Think about that. Why are those who are comfortable in their imperfect progress are the ones who are better to be trusted with? from Dr. Cloud again, don't look for the person who is perfect or who has no issues. Look for the one whose issues don't make you crazy or interact poorly with your own issues. So I'm going to give you these 5 essentials. And what we're going to do, I'm going to give you them. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts, some of the thoughts we had when we met together as a church on Friday night. So this is going to be other people's wisdom. And then you're invited to stop and add your thoughts to whoever you're watching this with, because this will be a good conversation. All right? And I want you to notice how these 5 essentials all build on each other. So it's like a 1 through 5. You need to have 1 to get you to 5. And with using these 5 essentials, you're going to be able to find the best imperfect people for you to trust. Number 1, understanding. You can trust someone when you feel your needs are understood, felt, and cared about. You are being invested in. You find yourself moving towards people who understand you. And sometimes, like, you meet somebody and there's just this click. There's this click of understanding. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. But you don't need to trust them yet. But this is just wonderful when you meet somebody that you click with like this. This is like where you can begin to grow to have this kind of trust. Understanding is a lot more than listening. So I want to give you 3 examples of how it's hard to trust somebody when you don't have understanding. You explain to your boss why something isn't working and he doesn't hear from you. He just keeps telling you why it should work just fine and to keep doing it his way. See what I mean? There's no understanding there, so there's no trust to your boss. You see what I mean? This one, you try to get your spouse to see how she is hurting you or how you feel sometimes in the relationship, and she negates everything about what you are saying. See how hard it is to trust somebody in that moment, right? Or this one, you try to explain your symptoms to your doctor, but she rushes through the exam seeming to already have an answer in her head, and you feel missed. You want to trust your doctor with your physical health, your deepest inner stuff, right? But if you don't feel understood, you don't feel trusted with something so deeply personal there, right? So, persuading someone is not understanding someone. If you've been persuaded to be someone's friend, there's not an understanding there, there's a persuasion. Someone can be of good character and you still have the feeling that you can't trust him or her. This is because the person doesn't understand you. Now there are some character issues, we're going to get to character, but there's some character issues right up front in this clicking with people that are going to be very apparent. But if they don't even have those characters, like they're liars, if they are, a different moral system than you, that's going to affect how you click with these people, right? So they're, those are called, those are permission to play traits that Dr. Cloud uses. These are obvious in this first step here that help you, that you feel like you're understood. But if you don't feel understood with someone of character, just consider that as a red flag. I want to say also, if you struggle with attachment issues, whether it's anxious attachment or shut down attachment or shame attachment, you're going to have a weak trust muscle. You're going to just begin with that because you learned too early in your life that people are not dependable. But I want to say, with these 5 essentials of trust, there's hope for you to learn and to grow this bigger, wider life, which is what we're talking about, why we're talking about this in church. We believe in Jesus and this calling on your life and this destiny that God has breathed into you. There's a chance for you to have a stronger trust muscle because of these 5 essentials. And then last thought on this. Predators make people feel understood. This is how they work. So this is why understanding is just the first one for these essentials to trust. because understanding and predators, you see what I mean by that? They go hand in hand here. So take your first conversation and talk about how you feel when you're understood, or how you have felt when you don't feel understood, and how this is the beginning of trust. I'll be back. All right, the second one we're building on here after understanding is motive and intent. When you feel that their motive is for you, not just for themselves. Like, is this person gratified when you succeed, when you get to, something good goes well in your life? Are they happy for you? Are you like joined together in what is good for your life? So I wrote this to kind of summarize this on the opposite of it in a dating advice article for my writing site. I write at bravester.com. And in this dating advice article, I wrote, have you ever dated someone who you were attracted to, had good conversations with, but when you went home, you still felt alone? Is this because you are not being understood? Is much of your conversation about you trying to be heard, but this person is not really listening? Or putting you into the box he or she wants you in? Or is conversating with you to persuade you? You have his or her intention, but it is not with any understanding of who you are. And so we also have this in some of our friendships. Like some of our friendships put us in boxes that maybe are not our full intention, not our full destiny that God has for us. I think of a common one is this: if you're a mom with small children, you're friends with other moms with small children. And while you guys are all with small children, there's a friendship there and a trust that is growing because the intent is the same. But as your children grow and the children go in different directions, your intent with each other is different. And these friendships change. These friendships are seasonal. Now, what happened here is not a betrayal of friendship. You just at number 2 here, the intent of your relationship has just simply changed. Someone, hopefully in this, they haven't gossiped meanly about you or said something hurtful in their own hurt, but just realize the intent has changed. And I think as adults, it's hard for us to make friends with people because this intent one is like, what box do they want me to fit in? Or what box do I fit in their life? And so we can click with someone, we grow in this relationship until we can figure out what box we fit in, and then we get to the next one. But first, I want you to have a conversation about intent and what you have learned about this in some of your relationships. So have that conversation. All right, the next one, again, we're building here, is the ability. You can trust someone when you feel they have the ability or the capacity to guard and deliver results for what you have entrusted to them. And I think this lack of ability is the most common cause of betrayal. We trust someone because we feel understood and we like their intentions toward us, but they might not have that ability to be your friend, your business partner, or even your lifetime partner. Again, you feel understood, you have that click, their intentions are for you, but when it comes down to actually becoming business partners together, they may have a whole different moral system, and you guys cannot make good decisions together. They don't have the ability to be the kind of partner you need in your business. Or when it comes to dating someone, this is where we ignore the red flags. And there's these red flags where they just might not have the ability to be in a relationship with you, but because you feel understood and because you have that intention, you just really want to ignore and justify those red flags away. I have a couple articles on my Bravester site that are very well read because it says love, the title is Love is Not Enough for this relationship to be a good match. And there could be love there, But this person may not have the ability to be your love for a lifetime. And you've got to see that and recognize that before you get married and before this problem becomes something, because it is a red flag. You can try to justify it away, you can try to change yourself to make this relationship work, but this person just doesn't have the ability to be this match for you. So, this is a tough one. This is where a lot of the betrayal comes in, when we ignore the fact that this person, for so many reasons, just doesn't have the ability. So have this conversation of what's coming to your mind about that. All right, the next one that we're building on here is character. Like character, you would think this would be a whole lot earlier in the, like, how do we figure out to trust somebody? But this one makes sense. Just go with me on it. Again, in the beginning, there's some character issues that are permission to play traits that are important when you're just understanding at that level. When you should have the discernment that if they're already a liar, this person is not trustworthy. You can have that discernment pretty early on. But there are other character traits that really matter to trust, that take time for you to see them, for them to grow, for you to understand this person, and for you to see them so you can trust them. Some of these traits are patience, stamina, their impulse control, kindness, lack of defensiveness, financial ability, and I'm sure there's more of these. This is where you have learned over time, because again, you feel understood, their intent is for you, you have gathered some wisdom, you've taken some time, you've had others hopefully speak into you to say, this person has the ability to be your business partner or the ability to be your friend. Now you get to see what their character really is. And this does take time. But looking for this character, looking for these, things like stamina and patience, if they have it, don't you grow to trust them more? Doesn't this take your relationship to a next level when you are, something has happened that has smashed your heart, and this person has the ability to come in and not offer you a platitude, but to sit in your pain with you for a while? That's a character trait. And you grow to trust, right? I mean, this is where that trust almost becomes sealed, right? Have a conversation about that and what's going on in your head, all right? All right, now to the last one. We're building on this one, and this one's almost my favorite because it just makes so much sense, and it really helps you to discern and use that wisdom. And this one is just track record. You can trust someone who has a track record of performing in the ways you need them to perform. This is more than just having the ability to do it, but do they have a track record of being this person? Do they have a track record of being what this character has been revealed to you? Do they live by this standard? Is this what their track record is? Or are you so special that you're going to be able to fix this person? So you can maybe be the one, to change this person's track record because you feel so understood. The way he looks at you and understands you is enough, even though the track record is right there, that he might not be the one for you. But you think, our connection is so strong and is so special, and you just ignore this track record. Or you got a business partner. You got to see this track record before you get into business together, because this is a big indicator. This is wisdom. And I wanted to say also, this is important in relationships, with friendships and marriage and dating and stuff like that, anyone can say that they are a Christian. Do they have a track record of having this heart after Jesus? Or are they just saying the words? This comes into play right here. If this matters to you, this comes into play right here, and you got to look at the track record, not just what they're saying. So you can trust this person with your whole heart. So have a conversation about what that is telling you. All right, those are the 5. Now, you see, right? I mean, your light bulbs are going off. This is just so practical. And to help you see this practicality, to apply this to your life, it helps to have, discernment, helps to pray about this, and it also really helps to have wise people in your life. And these are people who you also have learned to trust. You can put these people through these 5 essentials, and you see, this is why I trust them. So let these people also speak into your life of who you should trust next. Let them be that. So I want to close with a true story, kind of a funny story, but a very true story. If you've been to our church or you watch the music videos, our worship leader is my husband, John. I'm in a good marriage, which has helped me become a very good pastor, which I think helps this church become very trustworthy. But John's track record for me to marry him was not good. So we had understanding, we had that click, and boy did we have that click. We were good friends for quite a while. John showed his intent towards me. John's ability was something I was learning. He's got some background family stuff, and so there was does he have the ability to be married to a pastor? I mean, there's extra baggage on that one, right? Did he have the ability? And then through time, I got to see his character because we were such good friends. But John didn't want to stay friends. I wanted to stay friends because of his track record. Because the time I met him, 1, he was not a Christian, and 2, he was divorced twice. He was recently divorced twice. He had 2 marriages that lasted 6 years each. And then about 6 months after this is when we met, had this click of trust, this click interest in, I was not interested. He was divorced twice, but we had this friendship. And then he became a Christian, and we continue to have this friendship and this intent towards understanding my call in my life and this respect for the call in my life. And as he was growing as a Christian, his ability to overcome some of the family trappings that he had was there because God is all about redemption and healing. And John was very, very willing to let Jesus come in and heal his brokenness. And he was brave in his faith, and it was very admirable. And then the character John was coming out, the character I saw in the beginning when we had this click of understanding, and the character of who he was becoming as he was growing in his faith. But this track record, I couldn't overcome it. I mean, I was older when I got married. I was a pastor, and I just didn't think God's best for me was to be a 3rd wife. But I had some people in my life who I said to them, I am accountable to you. They were trustworthy people. And again, as a single pastor, I did not need to have drama about me in the church. And I did not need to be making drama decisions to let people have drama about me in the church. So I had these people very intentional in my life. And over time, each one of these people who I trusted came to me and said, yes, John is trustworthy. You should marry John. And then in the end, could feel this holy tension. I had to make a decision. And so I literally took a week. I fasted and prayed about what to do about this situation, broke the fast, and decided I'm going to marry John. This is not a romantic relationship here. It was a decision. But based on trust, it has led to 26 years of marriage. The track record wasn't there, but the people I trust told me, and I trusted them. And now here I sit with this church, with a very great worship leader, building this church together as partners, because he believes in my calling in my life. So, this is my benediction for you. I think you see the practicality and your mind is just shooting off with all kinds of aha moments and why this friendship ended and why you stupidly chose that boyfriend. And you okay? I want you to first take a moment. I'm going to slow down here. And I want you to see the faces, say the names, the people in your life who you trust. And I want you to take these 5 essentials, and I'll repeat them for you, and see how these people you trust all fit in these 5 essentials. So see these people. You see how they understand you. Do you see how their intent is for you? Do you see how they have the ability to be there for you? See how they're imperfect, yet they still have this ability to be there for you? You see how they have character, this character that draws you to them, that you just love and respect, and you want to have that character in your life? You're drawn to them because of this character. You see that? And 5, you see their track record with you. I want you to take a moment and just thank God for these people in your life. And number 2, I want you to think about your trust issues and those times you've been betrayed. Again, we're going to talk about this in the next video, how to heal from that. Again, go through these 5 essentials and see where you justified, where you ignored the red flags, and see what you can learn. Because as this benediction, I want you to live your life. I want you to live with bravery, with this big faith, with recognizing that God birthed you with a purpose. And I want you to walk on this earth with this purpose, with less trust issues, with this wisdom to know how to trust better, trust wiser, to trust with more discernment, and how to keep people in categories. To, this person you clicked with and is an understanding, but there's a character flaw here, so they're in this category. So you're not betrayed. You're not naive. You're not surprised at something that's gone wrong in this relationship. And it's okay to have people in different levels in your life so that you can find those people who will say, I see your calling. I see your purpose. I see that God has birthed you with this destiny, and I am with you and I'm behind you. And you can recognize them, and these people will walk with you into it. And then you can love those in the other categories bravely, because they're not going to betray you, because they're just where they belong. You see what I mean? This just opens up your faith, what God can do through your life, into a whole new area. Because we're in just week 1 of this series, where you're going to be able to just live this kind of life. I promise you. I hope you trust me with this. Hope my track record is good with you. All right. Amen.